All right. Thank you so much for joining me here today on the Red Pill Investor, as well here as Sell More Homes now on YouTube. Today, we're going to have a great day prospecting. I am super excited to help you get out there and get prospecting today. If you are joining me for the very first time, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate it. I would highly encourage you to go ahead and check out my podcast. I typically record a lot of the prospecting that I do on YouTube simply for the fact that I can go ahead and rip the audio and then use it in a podcast later. So if you're watching on YouTube in the background while you're prospecting, great. I know a couple of folks who do that. If on the other hand, you just want to say hi and then scoop, that's cool. I get it. But either way, I would highly encourage you to go ahead and head over to the redpillinvestor.com. You'll find well over 500 episodes devoted to prospecting, lead generation, presentations, objection handling, you name it. It's designed for a realtor or an investor to learn how they can use sales skills to their advantage when they're out there in the community trying to buy or sell real estate. As you know, you could certainly do a lot of mailings, you could certainly do a lot of paid advertising, but ultimately at the end of the day, you do have to talk to somebody. And when you talk to somebody, that's the key, that's the difference, that's the thing that's going to help you separate yourself from your competitors so that you'll be able to go ahead and make the money you say you want to make. So today, I've got a special surprise. What we're going to do is I've got all of the canceleds, all of the expireds, all of the good listings separated out by city. I've got it all filtered out here on the RedX dialer system so that we should be able to have it pretty much uninterrupted with the exception of perhaps price. We might need to delete a couple people because of that. But overall, we're going to call 88 people, or I should say 88 families. 6 of them are expired. 6 of them are for rent. For sale by owner. 34 are for rent by owners, and 42 are pre-foreclosures that have been filed within the last 7 days. Now, all of these properties, these 88 families, if you will, have just come on the market with, become available to us within the last 7 days. They've either expired, or if they're for sale by owner, they just came on the market. If they're for rent by owner, they just came on the market, that sort of thing. So these these offers, these people should be relatively fresh, relatively new. We have 122 phone numbers to call. We're dialing, again, 4 deep, meaning that the numbers that we get might be good at the very top. I mean, the top number, the first or second number is usually the best number. But then, of course, the third, the fourth number sometimes, maybe that's not always so good. It might be a little older, perhaps, might be a work number, might be a friend, a family member. So what we're doing with the dialer is we're telling it to dial the first 4 numbers of each lead so that we have the maximum amount of opportunity with each person. And while we're going to go through that, what we're going to do, we're going to discuss, for one, why don't we do the things we say we need to do in order to succeed? I mean, we know there's certain things that we need to do as agents, as realtors, as investors. There's certain things that we all accept and understand that we need to do. However, we don't always do them. So the question is, why don't we do those things we know that we need to do in order to succeed? So what we're going to do, we're going to cover that question as well. And of course, finally, if we have some time, what we'll do is we'll cover a little bit of news here. One of the news stories that I've been trying to get to is, there's a feeling amongst your consumers. If you're a wholesaler, if you're an investor, if you're a realtor, you might have even heard this yourself. There's a concern amongst the public as to whether or not there is a housing bubble. I'm going to give you a couple different thoughts on that from bankrate.com in an article I found, and a little bit of a commentary, if you will, with some perspective. So hopefully that will help you give your clients some information that will be useful to them when they're making decisions in the marketplace. That way, ultimately, you'll be able to get the sale done. So let's go ahead and begin this day correctly. Let's go ahead and take this to the Lord in prayer. Lord, thank you so much for this day. It's beautiful. We're very grateful for everything that you've given us. We're grateful for the food that you've given us, our families, Lord, the health that we enjoy. Lord, there's just so many things that we need to be grateful for and thank you for, and we never take the time to stop and say thank you. So, Lord, thank you. Thank you for everything you've given us and everything that you've done for us. Lord, help us today to take that gratefulness to our communities. Help us to take that gratefulness to the people that we're about to talk to, that we might be grateful in spirit, that we might be able to give them something of value that would help them along their journey. That way we can all achieve more. Lord, I just ask that you'd help us to bless this activity we're about to do, and that you would use it for your glory in Jesus' name. Amen. Okay, well, let's go ahead and press start. So let's go ahead and dial into the Vortex system. Now, ordinarily, I have it already dialed in. But today, I wanted to take a minute just to go ahead and outline specifically which contacts we were calling. That way you know exactly who we were dealing with and how many people we were calling, so you'd have a little bit of perspective, right? Now, if last night, I know many of you were probably with your families and relaxing, I went ahead and prospected. And what I'm going to recommend you do when you get time is take a minute to go over to iTunes podcasts or Podbean or wherever you're currently listening to the podcast. And I would recommend that you listen to the podcast from last night. The reason why is because there's a lot of people who tend to think that when you prospect at night, you're going to get a lot better results. So we're taking that to the test. We're seeing if that's the case. And I would recommend you go check it out because we had a lot of interesting responses last night. So let's go ahead and press start. Whammo. Show the script here. Today we're going to be, first off, we're calling, let's see here. Looks like for sale by owner. Okay. So for sale by owner appears to be first on the list. It's getting to be super hot here in Arizona. This morning it was nice. It was about 85 at 7 o'clock this morning. And it's going to be about 105 today, I think is the word. That's super hot. All the more reason for you to go ahead and qualify your appointments. I'm not sure where you are. I'm not sure where you operate. But I suspect that you probably have some kind of... Hello, this is Carl Krenzel. How are you?
I'm well. Do I know you?
No, sir. I apologize. I was looking for the Tetro Trust. They own some property over there on Copper Creek Drive, 11785. Am I calling the right number?
How much are you, is this because you saw that it was an expired listing?
Yeah, I was actually just calling to see if that property was still going to be for sale.
How much am I asking for that?
Well, let's see here. Seems as though you've got a little bit of humor. I'm guessing that you've got a couple calls today already, yes? I've been doing this 23 years, my man. I'm guessing that you've got more than a couple. It looks like you were listed for 225. Am I correct?
I'm just curious because I sold that property for 175 about 5 years ago.
Isn't that a fact? Oh my gosh. God bless your heart. I'm sorry, my man. All right. Well, listen, hey, I appreciate your good humor about it.
All right. Good luck.
You have a great day.
I have no idea who owns it.
No problem. That's no problem.
All right,
well,
good luck.
You have a great day.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye. Okay. So let's see here. As you can see, that was the wrong person, but that's okay. Let's see. Let's unlock that. And then let's turn this into the wrong number. Delete that. All right, there we go. Perfect. Yeah, don't get dissuaded by somebody in their
Call has been forwarded to an automated voice messaging system. 480.
don't get dissuaded by somebody's behavior. Okay. On the phone. We were talking yesterday while we were prospecting that you don't ever want to let somebody else's personal opinion about your prospecting affect your outcomes. That's another example of it right there. I mean, just because somebody's laughing does not mean a bad thing. So that obviously would be a bit of a...
This is Rita.
Hey, Rita, this is Carl Krenzel. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I am better than I deserve. Thank you. I apologize, but I may have the wrong number. I was looking for Frank. Is this Frank's house? I mean, over there on Element Street?
No.
Oh, gosh. Okay, I got the wrong number then. All right, no problem.
Okay.
You have a great day.
All right.
Thank you.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay. So I said Frank on that one because I had a bit of an issue with the dialer. Apparently, I had a little bit of a hiccup, apparently, in the dialer. And it was unable to, it got dialed out, essentially, right? So what we're going to do right now, we're going to dial right back in. Would you like to complete this previous campaign? Yes. All right. So we're picking right back up where we left. Sometimes, voice over internet and all of these things, great technology. Sometimes you have hiccups, right? Your server, heaven only knows, right? You don't want to get too worried about it, but you certainly want to keep up and keep pushing and not lose track of where you're supposed to be, right? And that's why.
Welcome to Storm.
Boom, we're back. we're back in business again. Boom. All right, so here we are dialing again. All right. So let's be a little bit honest. In your mind, okay, what is the real reason why you're not going to do what you know you need to do in order to succeed? I want you to think this through for a minute. Now I'm going to repeat the question, and I'm going to repeat it slowly. I'd like you to think this through for a minute. Let's be honest. Okay, don't lie. You and I both know nobody listens to this podcast. Nobody watches it on YouTube. Okay. I have very few people who watch this. So we can be honest together, you and me, right? And let's be honest.
Hi, you've reached Karen, speech language pathologist.
What do you suppose is the real reason, okay, why you're not going to do what you know you need to do in order to succeed? For example, if you were going to bake a cake and I said to you, I need you to make a chocolate cake. And I gave you the ingredients and I gave you the directions. And I said, okay, all you got to do is crack the egg, put it in the bowl. Take the cocoa, put it in here, put the flour, put some milk, whatever it is. I don't make cakes, you can tell. But that's all you got to do. I gave you some directions for it, and that's all you have to do. And I said, and then we're going to have a chocolate cake together. What would be the real reason why you would not make a chocolate cake as directed? I mean, would you try and go out and do it yourself a certain way? Would you try and go out and add the eggs after it had been cooked? No, of course not. You'd have a mess. There's a certain way to do things, a certain procedure, a certain set of precepts and understandings, if you will. If you're going to cook a cake, you got to mix the eggs before you put it into the oven. Otherwise, the batter burns and you just have a mess. That's not convenience. That's not choice. That's not preference. That's just the way it is. If you want to make a cake that tastes good, you have to add the eggs first. So what does eggs, chocolate cake, and all this have to do with prospecting and what you need to do to succeed? Well, okay, if you're a realtor or an investor, wholesaler perhaps, or both, or all of the three, right? That's my favorite. A wholesaler who's also a realtor and an investor. That's my favorite kind of person. When I say an investor, I mean like a buy and hold. Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Oh, hi. I was calling about that house for sale. Is it still available?
Yep.
Oh, great. Okay. Well, listen, my name's Carl Krenzel. I'm a broker here in town who buys properties. I was looking for the owner. I was calling because I work with a lot of buyers and sellers in the area. Just wanted to see what I could do to help you with that.
Yeah. Don't need a realtor.
Oh, I see. How about a buyer? Do you need a buyer?
If you want to pay that price, that'd be great.
Okay, great. So if I brought a buyer by who'd pay your price in terms that, you'd be acceptable with, would you pay some form of commission for that?
Sure.
Okay, great. No worries. So if you don't mind me asking, it looks like you're asking $950 for the property. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay, great. No worries. And when you sell this property, are you guys staying here in town? Are you taking off? May I ask?
Moving.
Okay. All right. So if I had somebody who'd wanted to close in 30 days, would that pose a problem for you?
Nope.
Perfect. Okay, great. Well, when would be a good time for me to come out and take a quick peek at the property? Have you got some time tomorrow, or would Thursday be better?
Do you have my email address?
I don't think so. What?
M for Mary, A for Apple, N for Nancy, S for Sam, F for Frank, M for Mary.
So
17@yahoo.com.
And what would you like me to do with the email?
Email me. I need to chat with my wife about what we would want to do here. I think we're really not interested in showing the property unless it's to a potential buyer. Not at this point, not to a broker.
Okay. All right. So let me make sure I understand this right. You got a property here in Tucson. You got
since I put this on Zillow, that there's been quite a few of you calling.
Oh, I can imagine. Let me just make sure I understand this correctly. However, make sure I've got it all right in my head. You're asking $950.
You're the longest I've talked to, by the way.
What's that?
You're the longest I've talked to, by the way.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. I try to be polite. I figure that most folks are going to be polite with me so long as I'm polite with them. I've been in this business 23 years, so it kind of has taught me a few things.
Live here in Tucson?
Yeah, right here in Tucson. So make sure I understand this correctly. You've got a property here in Tucson, and Los Leones is a beautiful area. Don't get me wrong. I love that area. But you're asking $950 for the property, which is fine. I understand that. But you want to limit the showings to people who only want to work with buyers. I'm sorry, only agents who work with buyers. And then only if they, that's what I thought. Hang up. See, guys, this right here is a perfect example, okay, of somebody who is absolutely not who you want to deal with, okay? Because if they have to talk to their wife about when they should let you come over to see a property, that person is a fool, an absolute fool, okay? Now, I know that I just sinned in my heart for calling this man a fool, and I apologize. That's not what I meant. What I meant by that is it's foolish for his activities, all right? So, for example, here in Tucson, $950,000 is a heck of a lot of money for a property, all right? So it'd be fair to say that if you want to get that kind of money, you're going to need all the help you get. I mean, everything you can get. This is my belief, all right? And tell me where I'm wrong, but tell me what you think, right? In your marketplace where you are, is it easy to sell a home? I mean, can people just put their home on the market and then have it sell like that, full price, no problems, no concessions, and this just like that? I mean, is that really the way it works in your marketplace? I suspect not. More often than not, I suspect that what really is going on is you have a pooling of property on the market. You have a lot of agents who fib to sellers for sale by owners. Tell them, oh, the market's great, the market's perfect, it's going to be great, don't worry, it's going to sell in no time, right? And so these poor homeowners put their homes on the market only to discover that it's not going to sell like that. Ironically enough, you know, if you're trying to reach the upper end of a price Hi, this is Carl Krenzel. I was calling about that rental you have listed online. Are you still trying to fill that vacancy?
I still am looking for tenants, yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, well, my name again is Carl Krenzel. I'm a broker in town who buys property. I was calling because I work with a lot of buyers and sellers and investors in the area. I was just wanted to see what your long-term plans were with that property.
Oh, thanks. I'm hoping to hang on to it for a while, and my mom is actually a broker as well. So
oh, how nice. What's your mom's name? Maybe I know her.
Sheila Beal. She's with Long.
Yeah, I know Sheila. Yeah, she's a great lady. That's your mama?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
you must be so proud. Your mama loves you all half to death, I'll bet.
She does. She's a great lady.
Well, she is a wonderful woman. I've been in this town 23 years. I used to work at Long many, many moons ago. And so she's got a good name in the business. And that's hard to find.
Good.
Yeah, that's hard to find. In this business, you could probably swing a dead cat and hit several bad realtors, but your mom wouldn't be one of them. She's a good lady. So, I'm glad to hear that you're related. Very quickly, that property on Celltel, have you had that property as investment property for long, or did you just kind of end up with that through circumstance?
I bought it to live in it, and I was going to renovate, and the renovations turned out to be a lot more expensive than I feel like handling right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I love the house, so I don't want to sell it, but I am going to move and put this one on hold for a little while.
Oh, I see. Okay, so this property, does it need repair or no?
No, it doesn't need repair.
This just needs remodeling.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, no problem. Well, I'll tell you, that's a great place to have a rental. As far as, I know you wanted to live there, but as far as rentals go, that's a pretty nice place to go. So that's pretty good. Do you happen to have any other rental properties or properties you might consider selling for cash?
No, I don't. I'm about to close on a property that I'm going to live in, and this is the only other one I own in Tucson.
Oh, hallelujah. All right, listen. Well, Jamie, I appreciate you taking the time to talk with me today, and you have a great day. All right?
You too.
Thanks. And you be sure to stay out of this heat today. It's going to be super hot, okay?
Yeah, you too.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay. So it's also a good policy, right? To pump up other agents in your marketplace. I know a lot of other agents tend to tear people down and talk poorly about them. But I think it's always a good policy to say positive things about other realtors in your marketplace, even if maybe you don't know that much about them. Sheila, I know a little bit about her. I mean, I might have done a deal with her. I don't recall. But her name does have a good name in this town. She's not a lady that I've ever heard anything bad about. And so it's always nice to say something nice about somebody because it does come back to you. I think that, you start out being grateful in the day. You start going out, praising other people and letting them know how good they are. Hey, I appreciate you. You're doing great. You start off with that kind of grateful attitude in your life. It's going to pay off. And even though it may not necessarily pay off with that person, hey, it's going to pay off eventually because you know what? A smile, people love working with somebody who smiles. You can't turn that away. So again, let's get back to this point where we were talking about why we don't do what we need to do to succeed. So when you think about it, in real estate, what are the things you need to do to succeed? Okay, let's just lay it out. What do you need to do to be successful as a realtor or as an investor or as a wholesaler? What do you need to do? Okay, well, let's see. You need to prospect every day. That seems fundamental to me.
Hello?
Hi, is Robert available?
Yeah, just a minute.
Yeah, thanks. Let's see what happens here. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Well, let's see. I'm not going to be waiting forever here. Okay, so we're going to give this. Let's see here. Was my watch dead? What's going on here? Did time stop? Did the rapture happen? What's going on here? It's all right. Well, we're just going to move on. I'm not. I'm the kind of guy that is. Look, if you got to pick the phone up and hand it over to someone, and then they got to stop what they're doing and come back to me and this and that and the other, chances are he's probably not going to be in a good mood when he does talk to me. So I would just hang on the phone for a couple, 5-6 seconds, and then I'm going to move on, right? I'm not going to sit there and wait forever because your time has value. Certainly, criticism that is frequently made of me. My coaches used to criticize me about this all the time. I talk way too much, talk way too long on the phone. I don't close enough. So that's a critique that I am mindful of, and something you might want to be mindful of too when you're talking to people. Certainly that lady I was talking to earlier, whose mother was an agent, probably not a good opportunity for me to close on her or make an appointment. However, if you've listened to these podcasts long enough, you've listened to me prospect for any period of time, you could easily see where I've prospected, talked to a customer, didn't close nearly enough, talked too much, didn't close, preached instead of, closed. I mean, there's a lot of that going on, right? But I'd be curious to see what your own estimation is of your prospecting skills, right? I mean, I might be terrible at it. That's true, but I'm certainly consistent at it. I'm out here every single day doing it publicly in front of you so you can see it. And the reason why is for two reasons. One reason for accountability. First, so I'm out here doing what I preach. I practice what I preach. Number two, so that I get better, right? Because look, iron sharpens iron. I mean, you're going to get better when you're out there in the marketplace and you're dealing with the customers and they're hitting you with objections and they're hitting you with their problems and their questions and all their whatevers. You're going to naturally get better. Hello? Sorry, folks. After 20 something years of doing this, I'm going to pick up certain responses very quickly, automatic responses that maybe you might have listened to the podcast and thought to yourself, oh, that's a good one. I'm going to remember that one, right? Well, trust me, I'm not smart. Okay, I didn't come up with all this myself. I heard this from other people, or I learned that. Hello?
Are you AZ Professional Services and Tax and Time Tax Professionals? We're open Monday through
that's
Friday
not who
from
I
10 to
want.
6. We do.
So, you're out there prospecting every day. You're going to get progressively better, right? So let's talk about the things we needed to do to succeed. Well, first we said the prospecting. right? Daily consistent lead generation. You need to do that every day if you're going to succeed in real estate. Somehow, some way, somewhere, you have to come up with a person to talk to about real estate. You have to have a real estate conversation. And I know that the fad these days in prospecting is to go have online webinars and Facebook advertising for buyers and all of that. I get it. Okay. I appreciate where that comes from. However, that sort of thing is not the kind of prospecting I'm talking about because there's no interaction. You see, it's the interaction that you have with the customer, with the client. That's what makes you sharp. That's what makes you smooth. That's what makes you, super fast when it comes to a response. More often than not, what the problem really is when it comes to prospecting, the first step of being successful in real estate, the reason why you don't do what you need to do to succeed is either because you're afraid, I get it, or because you don't know what to say. Okay, I get that too. Or maybe you've never been taught it. Maybe that's another reason why you've never prospected before. It's because nobody, no broker, no older agent in the business like myself sat down with you and told you, hey, wait a minute. If you want to make all this money you say you want to make, well, that means you got to have to do a lot of deals. To do a lot of deals, you got to talk to a lot of people. If you're going to talk to a lot of people, you can't sit there and sit in an open house and wait. I mean, good Lord, you don't know what kind of people those are. You don't know if they're sellers or, buyers, maybe when they're going to buy, who knows? There's no way to consistently bring in 10, 15, 20, 30 people a day into an open house. Listen, in order for you to get what you say you need to do, the first step to be successful is lead generation. And lead generation is critical. And when I say lead generation, I'm talking about you have to be able, let's say you want to do, you want to add, 20 transactions to your annual amount, right? Let's say you want to add 20 transactions a year, maybe just an extra deal or two a month. Where's that deal or two extra a month going to come from? It's not just going to fall from the sky, right? It's not as though
the person you are trying to reach has a voicemail box that has not been set up yet. Please.
It's not as though that they're going to walk in off floor time. It's not as if they're going to be handed to you by your broker or by some other investor or somebody else. No, if you want that extra deal and a half that if you're ordinarily getting a certain amount of transactions.
It's Cody.
Hey, I was looking for Wendy. Is Wendy available? Oh gosh, I'm sorry. I was looking for Wendy. She hung up on me. Okay. All right. Let's see here. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. Resume. All right. If you want to add, let's say you're already doing, 15, 20 or deals or so a year, a deal a month a year, let's say. That's what you're doing. And you want to add another 10, 20 deals to that. You're going to have to add some kind of prospecting method to do this. Right now, prospecting can come in the form of multiple ways. You can get door knocking, you got flyers, you got open houses, you got telephone prospecting. There's a lot of different ways that you can generate leads. I happen to be a fan of this because it's easier. It's a lot more easier to control for me. It's true. You have to take a lot of rejection, but for example, if you watch this, I will find somebody who is motivated in some way that I'm going to be able to meet. For example, today, I set an appointment for a meeting this afternoon. It's just the way it works. Call in the morning, set appointments in the afternoon. They're going to call you back. It's the way it works. So the first step, obviously, is prospecting. Why we don't do it? You're scared. You don't know what to say. or nobody like me told you needed to. Okay, well, now you have no reason to be afraid. Before, when I was starting out in real estate, my broker, God bless his heart, he was a good man. We all loved him. He's a good man. He had a good heart, right? We all wanted his heart after he died, right? I mean, not because we hated him or anything, but just he never used it. It was perfectly unused, good heart. I mean, you did something wrong. You didn't care. You fixed it. Hey, he didn't care about your feelings. What's this feelings stuff? Look, when you think about it, my broker, when I first started, I love him. He was a good man. He said, look, here's your desk. Here's your phone. Here's your phone book. You're on your own. And that was it. He didn't have any heart because he knew if I didn't have the wherewithal, the motivation, or the integrity in myself to go out and do what I needed to do, I'd be gone in less than 18 months. And so will you. If you're just hearing...
Hi, this is Kay. I'm sorry I missed you, but if you leave your...
If you're just hearing this for the first time, okay, you've never heard of the Red Pill Investor podcast, you've never heard of Sell More Homes Now, you've never heard of me or anything like that, I get it. Who am I? But let me tell you, all right, broker to broker, broker to realtor, broker to realtor, right? If you don't get your act together within the next 18 months, if you're brand new, you'll be out of the business. You can't afford it. You might as well get a job. Still get a job at Circle K. A salary job pays better and you have benefits. If you're not going to take this professionally, if you're not going to take this seriously, get out now while you can. The second thing you need to do to be successful in this business, after you've done the prospecting, the lead generation by any means necessary, the second thing you need to do is very clear: lead follow-up. It's the leads you discovered during your prospecting time. Every day I'm out here prospecting and talking to people and finding out what their problems are and setting appointments and pre-qualifying those appointments. And sometimes I go to them and sometimes I call up and cancel because they don't have the equity or their home doesn't look right or it's in the wrong area or whatever. There's a multitude of reasons why I'll cancel an appointment. I'll set an appointment all day. I mean, if you look at my appointment calendar, it's scratched up, written, and everything. But the important thing after prospecting and setting that appointment, you have to follow up with the leads that you do discover, because there are those leads that you go on those appointments to.
Please leave your message for...
Ray Benitez.
Okay. Yeah. So there's a lot of situations, right, where you don't know, hang on just a second. There we go. You don't know if they're a truly motivated seller. I mean, they say they're motivated, but people say one thing on the phone and then they say something completely different when you're face to face. And I'm sure you've been in that situation, right? Where you've talked to somebody and you set the appointment to go over to the house and you went over to the house, and after talking to them a little bit more, you discovered, what? They're a lot more motivated than I thought. And it seems like, because this happens, people have mistakes in their understanding and thought. They think it's going to take X amount of time to sell. They think their closing costs are going to be X amount. They think this, they think whatever. And then once you get out to the house and you discover the error of their thinking and you correct it, you're like, oh, no. Actually, that's not really the way it works. It works this way. And then the light goes off in their head. Look, I can't be the only one who's had that feeling, who's had that experience. It's not only me, right? I mean, you've had that too, correct? Where you've been in that situation where this person's going to do something soon and it's just a little bit of time. You know what? Sometimes, because the market right now, the way it is, people, they don't know what to do. And so they're not going to make snap decisions right away. I mean, they are going to think this through. And many times you're going to have to follow up with them again and again.
Currently not available. Please leave a detailed message and
You're going to follow up with them again and again and again and again until, right, they understand the value that you bring. Right now, sometimes, like with a for sale by owner, for rent by owner, or what a pre-foreclosures in particular, this happens a lot. They have a feeling as though they can handle this. It's no big deal. The market is good. I'm working with my bank. I got 10. I mean, whatever their current rental, or I'm sorry, their current situation is, chances are they are not going to be able to successfully do it the way they want to. Why? Well, just think about it. I mean, as a real estate professional yourself, how often have you seen things fall through for the dumbest of reasons? I mean, it happens all the time. If it happens to you, then it happens to them. And if it happens to them, they're not, look, it's not like they're stupid. Okay, I'm not calling them stupid. Don't get me wrong. They're not stupid, but they're uneducated. They're not aware of the different things you can do, the different ways you can.
I'm sorry, this mailbox has not yet been
Different
set up
ways
by
you
the
can solve a
subscriber.
problem. Just because somebody says, like, for example, yesterday we had a call, a guy was saying, well, you know, these people want all these closing costs and I'm not paying this and I'm not paying that. Okay, you're not selling your home either. Or you're certainly not selling it fast. And you're certainly not making it.
Hello, we are not
You're certainly not making it available to the general public. You know, there's a lot of things that people have in their head as absolutes in the real estate business, and it's just not that way. And when you educate them, okay, sometimes it takes them a little while to
Call has been
come
forwarded
around
to
to
an
your way of
automated voice
thinking.
messaging system.
It's not like they're going to just listen to you the first time and say, oh my gosh, you're right. Yeah, I've been wrong all this time. I need to list. That's not going to happen. Hey, I hate to tell you this. Let me break this down for you, right? There's going to be unbelievers all around you all the time. And you're going to have to follow up with them. You're going to have to keep that conversation going. You're going to have to talk with them, remind them of what you bring to the equation, remind them of what they're going to need to do remind them of the trouble they're going to face, remind them all these things. Look, if it was as easy as people just believing and doing, well, then we'd all be Christians, right? I mean, look, the Bible records that. Bueno, ¿habla inglés?
No, who is this?
Oh, mi nombre es Carl Krenzel de Sotheby's Realty. Estoy llamando para saber si usted está interesado en vender su casa.
No.
Okay, gracias. So, let's see here. Let's see. No, not interested. There we go. So even the Bible records, right? Jesus, you know, he's talking to the disciples. He's been crucified, died, risen from the grave, walked amongst the people, been seen by a group of 500, been seen by Peter, by all the apostles, by his brother,
Call has been forwarded
by
to an
Thomas,
automated voice
by all
messaging
these people.
system.
He's eating fish. He's been around for a while. People been hanging out with this guy. It's not like they're freaking out and saying, oh my goodness, it's a zombie Jesus. They're at first it tricked them out. They weren't too sure about this, right? But at some point, the Bible said that they got around to talking to him and they weren't afraid of him and they accepted that he was in fact the Lord. And then at the moment, the Bible says that he was being risen up to heaven, taken away. You know, the angels are there saying, hey, why are you guys looking up to heaven? And likewise, manner, you're going to see him come back down. The Bible records that even then, some people said, you know, I don't think that's Jesus. I don't know that that's the Messiah. What? Even then, right? Even then, dude's being carried off into heaven, been resurrected 3 days, he's alive. And I mean, you still don't believe. Well, that's the kind of battle you face when you're dealing with a for sale by owner, or for rent by owner, pre-foreclosure, an expired listing. Those are the kind of problems you face because unbelief is not uncommon. It takes people a while to buy into that, and you have to be willing to make the calls, willing to take the time, willing to take the effort, all right, to reach out to these people, to convert them, to preach the gospel, if you will, of why they should do business with you as opposed to somebody else or themselves. And how, look, I'm not trying to get religious with you, but
Hi, this is Lexi. Leave a message and I'll get back to you.
look at it
Thanks.
this way.
Bye.
I mean, this is your gospel. And you need to be able to tell them, look, if you don't list with me, if you don't sell your home with me, if you don't allow me to buy it, this piece of crap, and rehab it or whatever your thing is, right? If you don't preach that gospel effectively, all right, that truth, they're not going to believe you. And if you don't take the time to go out and spread the gospel, spread the church, if you will, and talk to people about your good news, well, then is it really any wonder why you fail? No, of course not, because you don't want to do the things you need to do to succeed. You won't take the time because you don't want to hurt their feelings. You don't want to. Nobody wants to. Nobody wants to hurt people's feelings, call up people and say, hey, guess what? You're going down the wrong path. You're going to lose money. You're going to take a lot longer to sell your home, and you're not going to get what you thought you were going to get. But if you list with me, if you sell with me, if you allow me to help you, I'll save the time, save the trouble, make this happen for you to where you don't even have to worry about it anymore. And isn't that really what you want? It's a question of perspective. What is your perspective? If your perspective is weak and you will not do the lead follow-up nor the prospecting that you know you need to do to succeed, you have to ask yourself, why won't you do the lead follow-up? Oftentimes it's...
Hello?
Hi, is Luis available?
No, wrong number.
Oh my goodness. Okay. I was actually looking for a fellow by the name of Luis Piedrahita. He owns a property at 5545 Moccasin Trail. Am I calling the right number at all?
That's what we're renting.
Oh, you're renting the property. Oh, okay, no problem. Well, do you happen to have a property number? I'm sorry, a phone number for him?
No, we don't actually.
Oh gosh, okay.
He's the owner?
Yes, ma'am. Luis Piedrahita apparently is the owner of that property. So, okay.
That's what I thought.
All right.
No,
Well,
I don't.
okay. Well, no worries. Well, listen, I appreciate your time. You have a great day. Okay.
You too.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay. There we go. Yeah, perfect. The reason why you won't do the things you need to do to succeed, okay, when it comes to lead follow-up, is because you're afraid if you follow up with this lead and you find out, oh my gosh, they're not qualified. They owe too much. They're a prospect that's no good. They're not really a lead. Then you don't want to know that, because that means now you got to go out and prospect again. You got to get back on the phone and do what I'm doing right now and hear them. Hello? Hello?
Hi.
Hi, I was calling about that rental you have listed online. Are you guys still trying to fill that vacancy?
No, it's been rented. Thank you.
Oh, okay, cool. No problem. Do you know anybody else who's got an unwanted property that I could buy for cash?
I don't.
No problem. Do you happen to have any other properties you're looking to sell?
No.
Okay. Well, listen, you have a great day, okay?
You too. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye. All right. So let's see here. Let's see, not interested. There we go. Zoom. All right, there we go. The reason why you won't do the lead follow-up, okay, is because you are afraid that you'll find out that they're not really motivated, that they're not really leads. And if they're not leads, well, then you have to go prospect again. And that's not fun. Nobody wants to do that. The other step that you need to do is make presentations. Obviously, if you've prospected and you found, hi, I was looking about that rental you had listed online. Are you still trying to fill that vacancy?
Which one?
Oh, the Limberlost property. You said it was already rented out.
Number 48.
Well, 52. It said. I was actually calling. My name's Carl. I'm a broker who buys property here in town. I work with a lot of buyers and sellers and investors and stuff. I was just calling to see what the long-term plans were on those properties. Have you got more than one over there?
We're not looking to get rid of it.
Oh, I don't blame you. That's a great little area over there. Do you happen to know of anybody else who's got a unwanted property that I could buy for cash?
Not at the top of my head.
Okay. All right. No worries. And I'm just curious, those properties, how many of those do you have over there, by the way?
Just 2.
Oh, just 2 of them. Okay. All right. And did you happen to buy those as investment properties, or did you just happen to end up with them as like a circumstance? I was trying to see if maybe we could talk to him about maybe doing like a 1031 exchange or something like that and getting into something a little bit more profitable than 2 little bitty condos. I mean, good Lord, we can get you into a triplex or something like that with the same amount of money. Let's talk about making money instead of wasting time. But when it comes to presentations, right? You've done your prospecting, your lead generation. You found somebody, you went out and you looked at the house or whatever. You found out that, yeah, they have some kind of interest, that you guys could work together, that it seems reasonable that this would be a good opportunity, or they have an opportunity that you could help them. At some point, you have to make a presentation. So why don't we do the presentations? I mean, we want to do presentations. We all say we want to do presentations. But how often do you really do presentations? Because when you think about it, presentations, there's a lot of presentations that goes along. You got the presentation on the phone. This presentation we're making here, when I'm talking to them on the phone. If I can't be successful in this presentation with them on the phone, they're not going to let me in the house. If I can't get in the house, then I definitely can't make a presentation face-to-face. When you think about it, the presentations, when you don't do your presentation, the reason why, primarily,
Please enter the 10-digit number of the person you are trying to reach.
Primarily the reason why you don't is because, again, of fear. You don't know what to say. You're afraid of what they might react to. You're afraid of how this might happen. You don't know how this is going to play out. Because honestly, how many people sit down and tell you what to do, tell you how to handle a situation? I mean, as you can clearly see, the fear that you're experiencing throughout your transaction is the very reason why you are failing. It's your fears. So what is this fear? I mean, fear in prospecting, fear in lead follow-up, fear in presentations. Many times, as
You have reached the voicemail box of 520.
Many times, as I mentioned, it's the fear of the unknown. It's not like they're going to come over the wire and slit your throat like you're in combat. No, when I went to the Gulf, when I was with the Marine Corps as a Navy corpsman, I mean, I was plenty scared. But I'm not scared of...
Sorry, but the person you called has a voicemail box that has
Miriam
not
on
been set up
6th
yet.
Avenue. I'm not scared of you.
Goodbye.
I mean, people saying that they don't want to list their home, they will list their home, they'll do this or they'll do that. Who cares? They're not going to hurt you. So why do you fear what people say? Well, because you don't want to look like a fool. And that's the key. That's the whole key. You don't want to look like a fool, so you refuse to take the actions would get you where you wanted to go because you don't want to look foolish. How much money do you suppose you would make If you knew what to say, if you knew how to handle situations, if you had somebody with you all the time, how much money would you make if you knew you couldn't lose? I mean, it'd be ridiculous, right? Well, the reason why we don't make even a fraction of that is because we fail to believe in ourselves. We're always looking for somebody else to go along with us. Maybe you're on your way to your prospecting appointment. Maybe you're on your way to your next appointment, your listing appointment, your wholesale appointment, your investing appointment. Maybe you're just sitting back in your house right now listening to this podcast or watching this video. And you might be thinking to yourself, it'd be great for me to have somebody with me all the time who knew exactly what to do. Because then I'd be square. I'd know what to do, right? The problem is that even if you did have somebody there with you all the time, even then you'd still be afraid, because you'd be afraid of letting them down or not being able to do what.
Please state your name after the tone, and Google Voice will try to connect you.
Being able to do what was necessary at the time. When it comes to presentations, best advice I can give you is this: make sure that you learn a script, that you internalize it, and that you practice it, right? There's a couple different listing presentations you can find out there. You're going to need to know a couple different ways to say things. No one presentation fits every single situation. Okay. The Mike Ferry presentation is a very good presentation for 99.9% of the presentations you're going to come across. For the other 0.1%, right? You probably need to know a couple other things. Like for wholesaling, for example, if let's just be honest, most of your business is going to come as a wholesaling realtor, as an investor, a realtor who wholesales, right? Most of the business you're going to come and get is going to be, retail type business. There will be the wholesale opportunities. Those are going to be fewer than your listing opportunities. Doesn't mean you can't make a living off wholesale. Doesn't mean you can't do a living as a real estate investor. No, people do that all the time. I'm just saying, proportionally speaking, there's a lot more people who are willing to sell their home retail than there are wholesale. And as a realtor who invests, you need to know this. You need to be aware of
This
that.
call has been forwarded to an automated voice messaging system.
Therefore, it would be a good idea for you to know how to handle a couple different situations, including a wholesale situation, a wholesale presentation. What if you're a realtor and somebody calls you up and says, I got this property that's a mess and I need to sell it, but I don't know what to do. Maybe you've been on floor time and that's happened to you. Maybe you've had somebody call you off a sign. I don't know. Maybe you've had a friend. Maybe you've deliberately marketed and you got that kind of lead. And you look at the lead and maybe this has happened to you. I don't know. Hello? Hello? It's happened to me. Where you've set the appointment thinking it was going to be a wholesale deal, gone out to the presentation, and you discover, what do you know? It's not a wholesale deal at all. This is actually a retail type deal. Or honestly, somebody could buy it for more than I could pay for it and live in it and do the work, because the work that needs to be done is not really remodel.
Please state your name after
Remodel
the tone,
type
and
work.
Google Voice will try to connect.
Right? It could be something else. So if that's the case, you need to know how to do a conversion from a wholesale transaction to a listing transaction, right? In the presentation part of what you need to do to succeed, how do you handle that problem if you're a realtor? I mean, what do you say? Tell me what you say. I'd love to know.
Please state your name
In the
after
comment
tone,
box
and
down
Google
below,
Voice
I'd
will try to
love
connect
for you to put down in there what you say to a person who is, you're a realtor You go to the house, it's a wholesale transaction. You're thinking when you get there, it's not really a wholesale transaction at all. It's really a listing. And you are a listing agent. You take listings, you want to take a listing, but you want to convert this from a wholesale appointment to a listing appointment. How do you do it? If you don't know how, you're going to do what I did, right? You're going to wing it. I mean, that's what we do, right? You know,
Call has been forwarded to an automated voice messaging system.
The good news is you don't have to learn how to do that because I've already done it. I in that book that I wrote, Real Estate Investing for Realtors, I devote quite a bit of time to that particular subject. When you think about this wholesale to retail type transition, how you
Hello.
Hi, I was calling about your house for sale. Is it still available?
Yes, it is.
Oh, perfect. Okay. Well, my name's Carl Krenzel. I'm a broker here in town who buys property. I was just calling because I work with a lot of buyers, sellers in the area. I was just wanted to see what I could do to help you.
Well, I just put the house up for sale today, so I don't really have anything to discuss.
Well, I don't think that's probably accurate, but I appreciate where you're coming from. I'm curious. You're saying you just put it on the market today. Is it 318,000? Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Perfect. Okay. If and hypothetically, I'm not going to lie to you, but if I did have somebody who'd pay you that 318 or some price that was close to that you all could agree on, I don't know. Would you agree to pay some kind of commission on that?
Yes, we could have a dialogue on that. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. Yeah. All right. That's great. All right. Well, when would be a good time for me to come out and take a quick peek at the property? Have you got some time tomorrow, or would maybe Thursday be better?
Actually, there's an open house on Sunday, 12 to 3:30. If you would like to pop in.
Oh, okay. Sunday, 12 to 3:30.
Yeah.
All right. No worries. And real quick on that property itself, may I ask how you folks came up with that 318?
I think that's a fair value for the home.
Okay. Well, I was just wondering, I guess, more specifically how you folks kind of determined the price. I'm not critiquing it. Don't get me wrong. I was just wondering if you had a particular, I don't know, idea as to how you came up with that price. Well, I mean, the reason why I'm asking is because Zestimate says it's worth 303. And if you're asking $15,000 more than Zestimate is, and Zestimate is kind of high, tends to be, I'm suspecting, I mean, that you've done quite a bit of nice things to the house. So I'm just wondering how y'all came to the price.
We did. We did some structural things inside and so forth and upgraded things. So I think that's a fair deal. Oh,
I see. Okay. So then in other words, you guys have made a few changes structurally to the house, improvements, things of that nature, since you've owned it. And that's what makes it.
Absolutely.
Okay. I understand.
Absolutely.
All right. No worries. And this is more of a procedural question than anything else. If hypothetically I brought somebody, they're again the same person, and they wanted to close in say 30 days, would that pose a problem for you?
Not at all.
Okay. All right. Good deal. And let's see here. You said you're having an open house Sunday between 1 and 3?
No, 12 to 3:30.
12 to 3:30. Okay. All right. Well, what I'm going to do, I'm going to write that down here. 23rd, 12 to 3 open house. All right. Good deal. So what I'm going to do, I'll most likely be in the neighborhood anyway, and I'll just swing by and just take a quick look at it at that time. Okay.
Okay, that'll be fine.
And I'm
Thank
sorry,
you.
my name was Carl. I never did catch your name. I apologize. But was it Miss Call or Miss McCall? Call.
Mrs. Call.
Mrs. Call. Okay, Mrs. Call. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much, and I will look forward to seeing you soon. Okay.
Okay.
Have a great day. Thank you.
You also.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna mark her down. Let's see here. Let's add some notes. So here's the thing. With her, she bought that property. I'm looking at Zillow right now, right? She bought it May 5th, 2017 for $255. And now she has it on the market 63, I guess, is that $63,000 more? Yeah, $63,000 more than what it was for sale when she bought it. So what she's simply saying is she's done some work to increase the value of this property 24% in, let's see, 17, 12 for 24 months. Yeah. So essentially she's saying it's gone up 1% per month every month for the last 2 years. Yeah, that's really what this is working out to be. She bought it at 255. She's selling it at 318, which is 24% more, right? You know, look, this is one of those situations when they say they're having an open house, right? That's fine. I mean, if I'm in the neighborhood, I might stop by. I'm not particularly concerned about this this particular deal because I'm not 100% certain that they have the equity that's required to pay me. I mean, when you think about this, okay, look, when you buy a property, okay, it takes on average 5 years for you to be able to gain enough equity for you to turn around and then sell it with a realtor, pay your closing costs, make your money, right? And the reason why I'm talking about it this way is because this is not an investment opportunity. Her property is in good shape. It's not got any, I mean, as an investor, what am I going to do? I can't remodel it. I'm not going to rent it out. Lease option, things of that nature, it's not in the plan. That's not going to work. So, the best thing I think you can probably do in that situation is go ahead and just tell them, you know what? Okay, great. I'll do some research and I'll get back to you. Right? That's probably your better option. Finally, handling objections and this issue of the listing conversion and wholesale transaction. Right? That's why I wrote that Real Estate Investing for Realtors book. It's right there available on my website at the Red Pill Investor. It's $25. It's well over 100 pages. It's designed specifically for that so that you can learn how to take this and apply it to your business. We've gone ahead and called all the expireds that are brand new, all the canceled, all the sale by owners, all the pre-foreclosures. Let's see here. Let's go ahead and take a look at the dialing report, see what we've done so far. Not too good. Not too good at all. So we've got so far 59 leads, 88 calls made, 10 contacts, no appointments. We were on the phone for 53 minutes. Oof, not too good. All right, well, I'll tell you what. So let's go ahead. We're going to call some more people here. Right, close that. And open this. Right. All right, so let's see here. All right, we're going to call some of these geo leads here. Let's see how this works. So the other thing we need to do when it comes to the reasons why we don't do what we need to do, lead generate, lead follow up, present powerfully, right? The fourth thing you need to do is handle objections. Handling objections is not easy. And objections are simply the questions that they have in their mind. It's not like they're trying to fight you or go against you or anything like that. No. No, what they're trying to do is simply get a deal done. They're just simply trying to get a question answered. They don't know. And so you can't take it personally, right? You can't take things personally what they say. You want to call them up and if they say, well, gosh, we're concerned about the commission, or we're concerned about this, or we're concerned about that. You have to learn the answers. Remember, objections are simply questions in the mind of a prospect that need to be answered. And the best thing for you to do is simply learn the answers. I mean, the questions never change. So if the questions never change, learn the answers. That's the easiest thing to do. right? Let's see here. Let's go ahead and press right, and then boom. Okay. So now we're gonna do some straight cold calling to areas that I work with. It's bam. There we go. So we're calling that Mittman edition again, that area that I really like to invest in, but unfortunately
You have reached the voicemail
lot of
box
people
of
do.
52051.
a lot of people like that area. So we're in some competition here, right? That's okay. We'll keep handling objections. Well, again, fear. We don't know what to say. We don't want to look stupid. We don't know how to memorize things. You know, when you think about it, the person who gives you an objection wants to do business with you. They really do. They just have a question or two that needs to be answered. And many times we get scared and we're like, I don't know. I don't want to answer that question. It's okay. It's okay to answer those questions. Just learn the answers. And more often than not, if you give them a solid answer, okay, that makes sense, that's reasonable, not emotional, you might be surprised how many times they'll do business with you simply because you're able to answer a question. Now, you know, it's a lot like when
Your call has been forwarded to an automated voice messaging system.
I always think of objection handling, prospecting, pricing, a lot of the things that we do in residential real estate. I think a lot of times of it like fishing. And in objection handling is much the same like fishing. You know, when I was a kid, my dad, my granddad, they used to take me out fishing a lot. You know, they used to like to bass fish and whatnot. And when you go fishing, especially for bass fishing, you need to use a lure. And sometimes, you know, you'll put one lure on your hook and you'll throw on your line, you'll throw it out there and you'll roll it in and nothing will happen. You'll throw it out there and you'll roll it in a different way and roll it in another way and maybe jerk it a little bit. And then maybe you might get a bite.
Your call has been forwarded to an automated voice messaging system.
So it is with prospecting. So it is with objection handling. You know, occasionally you're going to throw things out there. You're going to say things that sound like utter crap. I mean, they're just terrible, right? You throw it out there and you're reeling it in to see if anybody bites on it, to see if they accept what you have to say, and nothing happens, right? Nobody bites. Nobody looks at it. Nobody even gives it 1 second look. Okay. Well, maybe you jerk it a little to the right, jerk it a little bit to the left, change the way you say something, maybe add some inflection, maybe add the way you animate yourself. I don't know. But whatever you do, you say something, and you know what? It gets a reaction from them. And all of a sudden, you start to clue into the fact that, wait a minute, these people have a reaction to what I'm saying. I'm a lot like, gosh, a stand-up comic. You know, stand-up comic will gauge his audience's response to his comedy routine by the laughter that they give him. Likewise, you can judge your prospecting, your presentations, your lead handling skills, your objection handling skills by the response your customer is giving you. You know, if you are giving a prospect a line, you're giving a prospect a presentation, you're giving a prospect an idea of a service or something you could do for them, and they're giving you crickets in return, then you know something has to be changed. And you change it up a little bit, you need to know more than one thing to say. Right? Because if that lure doesn't work, well, okay, fine. Let's just go get us another lure. Let's find another way to say something. So if they say, well, gosh, we don't want to pay a listing agent. We don't want a listing agent. If you only have one way to respond, well, you're going to have problems. But if you have multiple ways to respond to that problem, well, gosh, now you've got multiple ways of handling it and more than one way that they might listen to you. How many objection handlers do you know for someone who says, I don't want to pay a commission? How many objection handlers do you know as an investor when somebody tells you we want to think about it and get back to you? How many objection handlers do you know? Can you come up with? How many ways can you handle somebody who says they want more money? You know, if we're going to be a little bit honest, and the real reason why you are not going to do what you need to do to succeed, we could take a hard look right here. Because you're afraid of confrontation. Hello. Are you afraid of confrontation? Are you the kind of agent, the investor, the wholesaler who's afraid to confront a homeowner over their errant way of thinking? Is that who you are? I mean, gosh, when I think about this, I mean, if you're the kind of agent that you're going to allow somebody else who does not do this professionally to tell you how things operate in your profession, and you're going to believe them?
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system. 52.
I have my suspicions. I have my suspicions about you. I mean, if you're willing to take what somebody else says about your prospecting, your objection, that they have an objection to you and you don't know how to handle it, and they're saying, yeah, you're right. We don't need to list, that we don't need you, we don't need to pay a commission, and ultimately you fold, you could be costing them money. Maybe you shouldn't be in the business. What about this one? Finally closing. You know, if you've prospected, you found leads, you made a presentation.
Robert, I'm sorry that I missed your call. Please leave a voice.
After their presentation, they looked at you, they had a question or two, their objections. You handled their objections. You answered their question. They're satisfied. They understand. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, it makes sense. Okay. What's the next thing you need to do? Close. Close. It's pretty simple. Close. But that's the final step when we're talking about the sales process. That's the final step you need to take, is to actually close on the people you're talking to. When would be a good time for us to get together? Would Monday or Tuesday at 5 be better? Well, whatever your close is. But you have to be able and willing to make an attempt to get what you want to get what they want, right? Because they can't, look, you have to have, this is a belief issue. This is back on your worldview, on the way you see the world. Okay, don't shortchange your career by thinking this is only about your town, your next deal, and your the market you have this year. That's not what this is about at all. This, hang on a second here. Hello?
Hello?
Oh, hi. I was looking for the owners of a property over there on Rosewood. Is that your property, sir?
No, you have the wrong number.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I was looking for the Ponds residence for Camille. Have I got the right place at all?
No, and
Oh, huh. Okay, well then I guess I got the wrong number then. Okay, well then what?
where are they at? I mean, where's this?
Yeah, it's
property at?
Camille Ponds. It's is the owner. It's a property at 5743 East Rosewood. It's here in central Tucson, Arizona. Do you have an
You called a phone in Tennessee.
right? Yeah, I noticed
Tennessee.
that. But sometimes people own property out of state, so that's why. Do you know anything about that property at all, or no? Okay.
No,
All right.
I sure don't.
All right. Well, no worries. Well, listen. You have a great day. Okay.
You too.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
All right. So you would be shocked as to how few
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic
people
voice
actually
message system.
close
52.
mean, closing is not something that typically happens. Typically, people, what they'll do is they'll say, well, okay, here's the information. I want you to think about it. And then you just get back to me when you're ready. That's what a lot of people do. Unfortunately, that's not sales, and that's certainly not closing. Closing is when you're simply offering a decision. Mike Ferry used to say, it's a great...
Hello.
Hi, this is Carl Krenzel. How are you today? Hello. That was my fault. I didn't follow the script properly on that one. I came off too much like a salesperson on that one. That was my bad. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're just going to say no answer on that one. There we go. And we'll call him back another time. That was my fault completely. What I should have done is I should have kept on talking instead of delaying. Many times when you're calling people, especially on a just listed, just sold type call, you don't want to delay. You just want to go right into it and get to talking, because a lot of times if you delay, then they're going to hang up on you simply because it's just, I mean, who wants to talk to you, right? But if you call them and you don't sound like a recording and make it to where it's compelling, many times you'll see that they'll react. They'll stay on the phone a little bit longer. You heard that other fella, hey, I've stayed on the phone longer with you than I have with anybody else. That's not uncommon at all. I hear that all the time, simply because I try to be very animated on the phone. And you got to remember that a lot of the people that you're talking to are hearing recordings about this or that every day, and it makes it very difficult for them to pay attention to you if you're not doing your part to help keep them entertained, if you will. Yeah. So when you think about it, the final step of closing, what you need to do to succeed, that is something that a lot of people don't do. Mike Ferry taught me that it is the closing is a natural ending to a great presentation. I mean, if you did what you were supposed to do, right? Remember, from the very beginning, you lead properly, you generated the lead properly, you followed up properly, you presented properly, you handled their objections properly, you got them under contract. What else is there to say? There literally is nothing else to say. I mean, why couldn't you just say, guys, and I've said this, guys, look, I've said everything that I could say. I've told you everything that you taught me to tell you. Would you sign the contract, please? Do you have any other questions? That's another one of my favorites. Do you have any other questions? A lot of times when you bring that up, hey, hello?
Please leave your message for...
Do you have any other questions? Right? A lot of times when you say that, if they say, well, no, it's pretty straightforward. Great. Would you sign the contract, please? It does not.
Please leave a message.
It does not have to be something that is dramatic. It doesn't have to be something that has a flair or anything like that. No. Would you sign the contract, please? With a smile. Press hard. It's cheap carbon. Right? When you do this, okay, when you agree to close, when you take that step, and it's a little hard, trust me, salespeople, one of my early mentors, Floyd Wickman, used to say that he's going to invent a guttometer, right? And the guttometer was a thing that you used to wear around your belt, and it would measure how gutsy of a question you had to ask. So when you ask somebody, well, gosh, where are you from? Where'd you live? Where'd you move from? It takes about maybe 1 or 2 on the guttometer, right? But when you ask somebody something like, well, gosh, would you sign the contract, please? That's about a 10 on the gut meter. Okay, you got to have guts of steel to sit there, look somebody dead in the eye and say, hey, would you sign the contract, please? And mean it, because that's scary for a lot of people. I mean, you've worked so hard to get to this point. You've called all these people. Think about day after day after day, all the prospecting you did, all the appointments you went on. I mean, you worked your guts out. You've been talking to everybody, and you've been making presentations left and right. And now the time has come. You finally got to that place where someone says, I'm willing to listen to you. You come over. They have a question or two. You answer it. You're starting to get that feeling, that butterfly. that butterfly feeling in your stomach. Oh boy, this is something different, right? And then you finally say, well, gosh, would you sign the contract, please? And they said, sure. And they did.
But the person you called has a voicemail box.
Oh my gosh. Now what do you do? That's a good feeling to have. You know, somebody told me once when I was starting out in my career, right? And I'll pass this along to you. When you first start in your career, when somebody lists their home with you or signs a contract, your initial response is, oh my gosh, I can't believe they did that. 23, 24, 25 years later in your career, same situation. Somebody doesn't sign a contract. Somebody doesn't sign your offer. You're like, oh my God, I can't believe they did that. It's all a question of perspective. The sixth and final step I think that you need to know to do to succeed. Obviously, the 5 steps that we discussed about the sales process that are all outlined in the book that I wrote, Real Estate Investing for Realtors, certainly includes this step. Step number 6, doing it all over again. You know, building this as a business, starting over from zero. You know, a lot of people have it very lucky in their career. They don't know what it's like to start from zero. That there's a level of ignorance in there that is bliss. But if you know, as I know, that nothing is promised, that every day, every deal you get is tenuous, right? Your homeowner who's selling your listing that you got on Elm Street, that's a great listing that you can't wait to get sold, he might be filing foreclosure today, filing bankruptcy. Maybe that buyer that you're taking out this weekend to go buy property, well, God forbid it, but maybe something terrible happens to them. I mean, I've had buyers get under contract, get ready to close, and something fatal happened to them. I'm not saying that that's what happens, but I'm not trying to scare you, but it happens, right? Buyers, sellers, houses burn down. There's storms that knock trees over on roofs. There's banks that are greedy that try to steal people's homes and foreclose on them before they have the right, which freezes everybody's money. Look, bad things happen. And any one of those things could stop your transaction and prevent you from making money. And that is the kind of career we live in. You chose this. You chose this.
Call has been forwarded to an automated voice messaging system.
James Smith.
Remember, you chose this.
The number.
You said you wanted to get into real estate because you could make big money. You got into real estate because you said you wanted to have your own hours. You didn't want to have a boss, right? And now you find yourself fighting for your life in this sales process. You're out there generating leads every day, listening to lead follow-up, trying to make presentations. People are telling you no. And when they do,
Your call has been forwarded to an automated voice messaging system.
when they do tell you yes, you list their property, get it under contract, whatever. Sometimes the deal just falls apart and there's nothing, I mean, nothing you can do to solve it or stop it or prevent it.
Please leave your message for...
You know, if that's the way we do business, it sounds like sometimes it's just a lot easier for us to quit. But I have some good news for you. The good news is to prevent you from having this feast or famine, this great day versus terrible day, this horrible existence versus the life you say you want. The thing that will allow you to get what you say you really want, that will allow you to start all 5 of those things, the sixth thing you should do.
Please leave your message for 5.
The sixth thing you should do is start every day at 0. Every day. Start every day at 0. Again, I'm going to ask you, let's be honest. What is the real reason why you're not going to do what you need to do to succeed when it comes to starting every day at 0? Why won't you look at your business every day, look at the board you have on the wall and say, you know what? I don't have any listings. I don't have any sales. I don't have any contracts. I don't have any wholesale deals. I don't have any leads. I don't even know anybody who says they want to do something. In fact, I don't even have any money in the bank. I'm broke as a joke. You know what? For some of you, I'm describing your life.
Hello.
Hi, this is Carl Krenzel. How are you today?
Good. How are you?
I'm better than I deserve. Thank you. I'm an agent over here at Sotheby's. We just listed a property not for sale, not too far from you. She hung up. Didn't even care. Boom. Not interested. All right. No worries. Keep calling. You know, the life I just described might be you. Broke. No listings. No pendings. No actives.
You reached the voicemail box of Harold Andrew Couch.
No contacts, no contracts, no leads, nothing. You know, it's amazing. If you started your day with that mindset, thinking that that's the way it was going to be, you had no money, and your back's against the wall. How hard would you work? How hard would you take your job seriously? I mean, how much further would you push? How far would you go? How much problem would you have generating leads? How much problem would you have following up? How much problem would you have making presentations or handling objections or doing any of the things that you needed to do if you were broke as a joke? You wouldn't have any problem at all. You'd work your tail off.
You have reached the voicemail box of 520.
In fact, many of the reasons why you don't do that is because you've become complacent in the life you do have. Maybe you're, in a situation where you're getting a paycheck. Maybe your wife's working, maybe your husband's working. I don't know, whatever your particular situation, but you got steady money because of the way you've lived. Maybe you made good choices in your life. You were responsible with your money. You saved, you bought property, you got rental incomes. Now you got money coming in. You've lived the good life. You made good choices. But now you find that you're missing the fire. You're missing the intensity. You miss the chase, the hunt, the desire to go out there and fight.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, this is Carl Krenzel. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I am better than I deserve. Thank you. I was calling about a house that you might be the owner of over there on 3rd Street. Is this Sandra?
Nope. I think you have the wrong number.
Oh,
I
gosh.
own a house on 3rd Street.
Okay. I was
This
looking.
is
Go ahead.
371-8359.
Oh, gosh. Okay. No worries. And so you don't know a Sandra Perez on 3rd Street then? Okay,
I do not.
no problem. Well, hey, since I got you anyway, do you know anybody who's got an unwanted home that I could buy for cash?
I do not.
No problem. It's kind of an odd question anyway. All right. Well, listen, I appreciate your time and I hope you have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye. Let's see here. Wrong number. There we go. All right. Resume. Maybe it's because I'm a guy.
Hello, you have reached Becky. I am unavailable to answer my.
But I tend to think that one of the attractive things about real estate investing and real estate itself is that it is dependent upon your ability. I mean, if you win, if you get the listings, you get the deals, you get.
Hi, you obviously got me at a time when I can.
If you win, well, then you win because of what you did. I mean, God's blessing, of course, don't get me wrong, but obviously because you took the activity, you took the action, you took the steps it took to go out there and make things happen. And part of that appeals to people because
But the person
it's
you
the
called
hunt
is a voicemail box that has not been
that
set up
attracts
yet.
us. It's not so much the fact that you got the listing or got the deal, it's the fact that you went out and made something happen that wasn't there before. Some people take a lot of personal pride in that. I do. So step number 6, going out and seeing everything that you have as nothing, as meaningless, as vanity. When you see it that way, that you've got to get out there and you got to hustle, then you're going to get out of this complacency that you're suffering from. If you've got it good right now, I want you to take this message seriously. I want you to take this deep inside your heart. Okay? You've got it good for a reason. It's because of the actions you took. It's because of the things you did, the steps you took.
Hello.
Hi, this is Carl Krenzel. How are you? Sherry?
I'm good. Who are you?
No problem. My name's Carl Krenzel. I was looking for Sherry Brabham. She is it Sherry?
Yes, it is.
Oh, perfect. Okay, well, Sherry, I'll be real quick. My name's Carl. I'm a broker here in town who buys property. I was calling about that property you own over there on 4th Street.
Yeah, you guys seem to send me mixed messages because you're looking at another property that's not mine.
Oh gosh. Okay, I'm sorry about that. All right, so you don't own the property at 5625 East 4th?
Yeah, I do.
Oh.
However, I get flyers from you all the time saying it's 5631 or something, and I would like to get off your mailing list because
that'd be great, but I don't mail anybody. I'd be happy to take you off my mailing list because it would save me some stamps, but unfortunately, I just don't mail anybody, Sherry. So I don't know who's mailing you, but have you even considered selling that property?
I have, but I'm not looking to do that until next year.
Okay, no problem.
And then it might be on the market.
Okay. Well, I can't blame you. I mean, that's a great little area in there. I was looking for something in there myself, actually, to buy as an investment. And is that an investment property for you, or are you guys just living there?
No, I own it, lock, stock, and barrel. However, I'm not crazy about the neighborhood.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. So you said you're thinking about selling it next year, you say?
Yeah, at the beginning of next year.
Okay, no worries. I'm curious why next year as opposed to, I don't know, 2 years or from now, or maybe a month from now. Why right after the first of the year?
Because my husband died and I need to figure out where I want to go from here.
I understand. Yes, ma'am. I completely understand that. That's something you want to take very slowly. I remember when my father passed away, my mother was in the same sort of scenario, and we gave her the same counsel. You know what? Just take a few months to, relax and come to grips with what's going on. And there's no need to make any immediate decisions. So I certainly appreciate where you're coming from, and my condolences for your husband. How long were you married?
Forever.
Oh, God bless your heart. I'm so sorry. I can't even imagine what that must be like. My wife and I, we've only been together for 7 years, and I can't even imagine what that must be like if you've been together for quite some time. So God bless your heart. I'm very sorry to hear you, Sherry.
Okay.
All right. Well, listen.
Well, be good to your wife,
yes,
and you stay in it.
Yes, ma'am. I am. Yes, ma'am. I am.
It is a very rewarding situation to be in.
Oh, God bless your heart, Sherry. You're going to make me cry. Stop that. Oh, okay. Sherry, listen.
Don't screw it up.
I won't.
Anyway,
I won't.
Either of you.
I won't. And I'm going to tell you one thing, Sherry. I'm going to pray for you today. I'll pray for you and your husband tonight. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
God bless you. Take care. Bye-bye.
You as well.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
You know, I got to be honest with you. There are so few times that you really get a chance to have a career where you can talk to people and get intimately involved in their life. Or when I say intimately involved, I should restate that. I'm not intimately involved in their life, but they shared something intimate with me. And when somebody shares something like that with you, you want to respect that. You want to honor that. You want to give them praise for that, right? Because there's so few times in this business, so few times that you can actually have a connection with somebody, even if it's not something that's going to relate into a business issue, where you're able to really let the goodness in humanity show out and let them know that you're thinking about them and that you care about them as a human being. There's just so many evil people in this world, and so many wicked people who do and say the worst that society and civilization can bring out. And every day we need to be reminded of
I'm
the
sorry, the person you are
of the
trying to
good
reach has a
things.
voicemail box that has not been set up yet.
You might be thinking to yourself that, prospecting is nothing but no answers and hangups and no and this and that and the other. But I am here to tell you that there are times when you prospect people, you're going to make that connection, and that's rewarding, because every now and again you're going to come across that person. I've done this happen
You have reached
at
the
least a
voicemail
couple
box
times in my
of
career.
5202.
At least a couple times in my career it's happened where I've met somebody who was a for sale by owner, listed their property. We got to form a good relationship. I was able to help them well. And then one of the spouses passes on. And then they invite you to the funeral. They invite you to the funeral as not as a realtor, but as a friend. And that means a lot. And then I had it happen one time, that same family that invited me to the funeral, when the mother had passed away, the children had called me and asked me to attend. That means a lot to me. Maybe it doesn't mean a lot to you, but to me, that means a lot. That is what helps me go in this business. That's what helps me to continue to do the things that
You have reached the Jarms residence.
that we need to do to be successful. Because you're not always going to get those people who are going to be grateful or gracious or helpful. It's not guaranteed that you're going to find those people. But you will find people who are broken.
Your call has been forwarded to an automated voice messaging system.
You'll find people who are broken. You'll find people who are hurt. You'll find people who are needy. And you can minister to these people. You can help these people, right? And this can be what you can do to help society. And ironically enough, this goes right back to what we were talking about from the very beginning. What's the real reason why you're not going to do what you need to do to succeed? Why won't you prospect? Why won't you follow up? Why won't you make presentations? Why won't you role play and practice the objection handlers that you need to learn so you can be ready? Why won't you learn how to close? Why won't you take the extra step and see everything as starting from zero? It's because we become complacent. It's because we become used to doing the same thing. When you realize that you're in this for something bigger than yourself, that's when you are going to take this seriously. When you stop realizing, when you stop chasing dollars, okay, I'm not saying dollars aren't important. Dollars are important. You need to have money in order to help people. I'm not foolish. But when you stop chasing dollars and start chasing transactions and the people that are in them and how you can help them, I think what you'll discover is you're going to get the dollars you want if you're willing to find the people that need your help. But if you're so egotistical and so scared that you won't learn the skills you need to learn, you won't practice things you need to practice, you won't get out in the market and interact with the people who need your help, if you're not going to have enough belief in yourself to take it to the marketplace, please.
Hello, please leave a message after the tone.
Please, if you don't have the wherewithal to do this, please, I'm begging you, get a job at Circle K as a manager or at QT as a manager, please, for the love of God, because you're going to make more money. You're going to get benefits. You're going to have health insurance. You'll be served better, and you'll be serving more people effectively by being a QT clerk, a QT manager, a Circle K manager than you will as a realtor or as an investor. There is absolutely no shame in being a QT manager. There's no shame in being a Circle K manager. They're honorable professions, and you serve people. I am grateful for the QT manager. I'm grateful for the Circle K man. This smile on his face, he's happy to see me. He's always upbeat. I love that. But for God's sake, don't be a realtor. For God's sake. For God's sake, get out of the real estate game. Because the reality is, you're hurting the customer. You're hurting the customer. You really are. You're not allowing them to be served. What's simply happening is you're trying, but you're not willing. Big difference. Trying is one thing, willing is another. What are you willing to do? Well, guys, we've done a lot of prospecting today. I want to say we've done about 2 hours. Let me just go ahead and jump out of this real fast here. Let's go ahead and see what our results have been. Oh, we have just my appointment that I had set yesterday for 3 o'clock today. Remember, when you're prospecting every day, just because you're not able to pick them up on the phone here and make an appointment does not mean that you can't make an appointment later. Because many times, more often than not, they'll call you back, they'll text you back, hey, who's this? Hey, I noticed you called, what's up? Things of that nature, right? And what you'll discover is that it's from those conversations many times that you're able to go ahead and set those appointments. So don't lose track, don't lose hope, keep making those calls, because how do they know to text you back unless you call, right? Even the Bible says, how are people going to be saved unless someone preaches to them, right? How are you going to spread your gospel unless you preach to them? You have to get out there and spread the word. Guys, we made about 13 extra contacts. That one total, 13 contacts for the day. We made 184 calls, left voicemails, 122 leads. We're on the phone for an hour and a half with 13 contacts. It is 10:15 right now, so I'm going to go ahead and stop this for right now. A little bit later on, might do some evening prospecting. We'll see what happens then. Until next time, I'm going to ask you to go ahead and pay attention to the podcast. Go ahead and download this podcast. I want you to listen to this again. All right. This is a critical podcast I feel you need to hear. You need to understand this fundamentally, why you're not doing what you need to do to get the money you say you want. Well, guys, thank you so much for listening to the podcast. Listen to it a couple times, especially at theredpillinvestor.com. If you wouldn't mind, would you do me a favor? Head on over to carlbuyshouses.com. Just drop in there, take a quick look around, and then jet on out. That helps me when people use that link. It helps me because it helps increase the content rating. It helps increase the ranking there because people keep clicking it and using it, checking it out, and obviously it adds relevance. So if you've got an extra second or two and you thought that maybe Carl helped you out today, do me a favor. Hit the like, subscribe button or notify button, or come out to check out Carl Buys Houses. Just do anything you can that would help spread the word about what we're trying to do, and I would be eternally grateful. Thank you so much for your attention. I hope you have a wonderful day, and if you have any questions, by all means, hit me up in the comment box, and I'll be sure to get you as soon as I see it. Until next time, I hope you have a powerful sales day. Bye-bye.